Thanks for joining us for another great season of the Creators Channel. While I'm up in Alaska documenting my journey for American Adventure Survival Science, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to talk about documentary style. So before I left, I sat down with filmmaker Sean Marin and talked shop. This is what he had to say.
So cool, thanks for having lunch with me, man. I appreciate it.
What do we eat?
These are the barbecue chicken sandwich of the month. I kind of got a small laundry list because you do documentary work. You've had a lot of experience shooting outside, shooting on the fly, shooting without a script, shooting a lot of it potentially with only one opportunity to get a single take. And then recently too, you've been lucky enough that you've been working on actual like full-length, feature-length documentary projects, or at least have had a couple professional projects you've worked on. Yeah,
over the last few years I did a documentary on an Olympic runner and his coach, one with a bunch of professional surfers, and about a blind surfer, and then did another one about some professional bull riders and other athletes. So yeah, I've been fortunate to do some bigger projects, and then getting into the commercial world with that kind of style of filmmaking.
That stuff all kind of brought you to basically what I'm considering, compared to a lot of people that I know that do YouTube and myself, like we would consider you a professional. But it's cool because you've had a lot of experience working like on the ground. I don't know if you'd be able to like just walk through like a process of a shot. Let's put a hypothetical shot out. You know you're going to be interviewing someone and they're going to be doing like an action sport or something like that. Like they're going to go catch a wave, but you know it's going to consist of like an interview, and then they're going to be in the water, and then something like that. How do you think you would go about preparing to do that shoot?
Preparing for every shoot is different. It depends on, in my experience, it's been what style of documentary are you making, and who are you working with. But there's that kind of filmmaking where your documentary shots are very structured, thought out, planned cinematography, but still it's like, you know, a 1 or 2 man crew.
Yeah.
Or there's like run and gun filmmaking where you got this, you know, dude with a camera following somebody and you're just going for it, much more guerrilla style.
A pile of footage.
Yeah, which is exactly what happens. So that being said, if you're doing the structured style shoot, which I enjoy because I'm thinking about imagery more, you think it out. You go, okay, this is who we're going to go work with. So if you're going to go meet up with a race car driver, let's say. Okay, what kind of shots do we want to get? Let's get some cool shots of the race car, the driver, and then build that with an interview or a voiceover. You know, and that's the way we go for B-roll. And then interviews, knowing where you want your story to go. Asking the right questions in your interviews to direct the path you want it to go. And people will say, a documentary is a non-biased work of art. It's true, but you can use common sense and know where your questions are going to lead. And you can be non-biased and still be searching for truth. I think truth is the ultimate expression of being non-biased. Now, if you're on the other side of the spectrum and you're doing just kind of run and gun guerrilla style, and that's the way you want to roll with it, great. But you are going to overshoot. It's just part of the monster.
That was actually going to be what I was going to bring up next. A lot of us are now, wearing almost every hat when we're doing anything. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to be behind the camera 70% of the time, and then you're going to be looking through that footage, finding your shots, and editing through it. And so all that time is something you've got to account for. So I feel like there's a big temptation, at least for me, and I feel like it's probably mirrored with other YouTubers, to try to limit how much footage they actually take. Shoot it when it counts, leave some of the excess behind so that you don't have to sift through it later. And I know that's a dangerous trap I've fallen into. Is that something you struggle with too, or is that something you ever had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to wear a lot of hats, period, if you're doing that kind of like low budget, whatever, filmmaking, storytelling. And you're going to overshoot. And that's fine. If it's all about the story. If you overshoot something and you spent a day doing it and it does not communicate what you needed to do, redo it.
So for you, it's not getting around having all this excess footage to sift through. It's just it's going to happen and you deal with it.
Yeah. Like when I was filming in Hawaii with a bunch of pro surfers, there's moments that you cannot anticipate. And athletes are not actors. So asking them to redo something is like...
It's not going to happen.
Pulling teeth to make it look natural. So it's... You kind of just have to roll. You just kind of have to roll and just wait for it. And you see it, you'll know. You'll go, oh, that's it. That's what I wanted. And then at that point, you can go, cool, I got what I wanted, and turn the camera on. But if you need more, or you're just kind of waiting, you just kind of have to be on standby.
A lot of like when you shoot interviews or you shoot something with a consistent background, you can do a lot of shortcuts and jump cuts. That's something that a lot of YouTubers will do, in their blogs. And for a well-flowing documentary, a well-flowing shot, do you find more value in it being an extra long take, or do you find it more value in editing together shorter takes? Which one do you find can tell the story better, if there is a preferable one? I don't know if there is a preference.
I think the length of your takes, again, goes back to what you're wanting to communicate and how you're wanting to communicate it. Jump takes are actually great tools of communication. Mm-hmm. They do a couple things. They get you through their topic clearly and concisely, as well as add a comedic beat to what you're doing. You would never see a bunch of jump cuts in an interview for a History Channel documentary.
It would
interview.
Not fit.
If you want something comedic, jump cuts are great. If you want to get to it through it quickly, jump cuts are great. If that's the style you want to start creating, it's a less polished, more off-the-cuff filmmaking style. That's great. If you don't touch it.
That's perfect. So your answer actually got to the question that I was getting at without me having to ask it the right way. That was perfect. I know it's kind of on the spot. I don't know if you have a word of advice for any aspiring videographers out there that are looking to do documentary style and get into the actual field.
I would say to anybody who's wanting to do documentary stuff, do things that you care about. Learn from others. Be humble about it. Work well with others. Be serving. And then lastly, get out there and just do it. Think it through. Everything starts on paper with an idea, and then just go do it. And have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, it's work. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's work.
It's work.
But if you're not happy about why you're doing it or the end result, figure out how to make it fun, or don't do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And feel free, if you want to plug your most recent project or whatever you're working on, if you care to make a plug, or plug Whole Foods if you want.
Whole Foods.
Kettle brand chips.
Hold on. Nah, we don't need to plug anything.
So that was great. Obviously, there's a lot to cover about documentary filmmaking, but it's always nice to sit down and chat with an actual professional. If you'd like to check out Sean's work, I'll be sure I include some links in the description. And please stay tuned for more supplementary content and more playlists on the Creators channel. Keep on creating.